Boating! Nothing like it to give ourselves a complete sense of relaxation and enjoyment. Just like this guy right here. He's really having a good time out there on the water. Welcome back, everybody. It is your boy Broncos Guru, and we are ready to do this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. We're going to dive right in by going to Newport, California, where a couple boaters went out on a nice little dive trip to Catalina, and all of a sudden they smelled just a little bit of smoke. They decided to go ahead and take a look at what was going on, threw a hose on the fire, and next thing they knew, it blew up. There were several Good Samaritan vessels around, so they all pitched in, called for help, and a rescue vessel was sent out. These guys were pretty lucky, and I won't even call them boneheads. They were a little bit prepared. They had a dinghy on board and several other items that were needed for this kind of situation, so they really did get out okay. A tow company was called in to come out and try and salvage what was left of the vessel to make sure there were no environmental impacts from this boat being left in the water. As you can see from these images here, there really wasn't much left at all. The tow company did wind up getting this boat back to shore though. Our next boater this week is going to take us down to southern Spain, where these two boats you see on the screen and this police helicopter following in chase are chasing what is believed to be a drug transporting vessel. Here you're going to see the police boat coming in on the left trying to intercept this drug runner, and all of a sudden the two boats, well, they collide. The three officers that are on board the police vessel all wind up in the water. The boat continues to spin out and run around. The helicopter actually pleads with the drug runners to stop and help the officers, and they actually stopped. Well, this helicopter winds up picking these guys up. Also, the disabled drug runner boat, they picked the 4 people up off the boat. Even though those guys stopped and assisted, of course, they're still arrested. And they wound up recovering almost 6,000 pounds of illegal narcotics that were in the water from this. Our next boater this week, well, it's going to be another one of those Oregon sailboats. You may remember a few weeks back, we had a sailboat that had become disabled off the Oregon coast. Everybody commented wanting to know how a sailboat becomes disabled and can't move. Well, we've got a second one. These guys were out on their 50-foot sailboat, there was 5 people on board, and they wound up having to call the Coast Guard to come in and assist. When the Coast Guard arrived, they decided the conditions were too rough to attempt a rescue. They wound up asking the 5 people on board the vessel to go ahead and get into survival suits and go ahead and jump into the water. The 5 people on board the sailboat then quickly dove into the water, and they were quickly plucked out by the Coast Guard vessels. I'm still not sure why these guys were out here. This was not a pop-up storm, this was predicted. Our next boater comes out of San Diego, where 2 gentlemen were asleep, waiting to get up in the morning to start fishing for tuna, when all of a sudden they were awoke by noticing their boat was beginning to capsize. The 2 gentlemen grabbed as much as they could and got out of the boat before it flipped over. They got very lucky as the 65-foot fishing vessel Pegasus went out that morning and wound up seeing the 2 guys sitting on top of their boat while they were waiting to be rescued. These gentlemen weren't sure how long it was going to take for them to be rescued or found because you know what? They did not have an EPIRB on their boat. So they had no way to get any coordinates out to anybody to let them know they were in trouble. Anytime you're going to overnight on a boat, definitely carry an EPIRB. Our last boaters this week are going to come out of Hawaii. Unfortunately, I'm the real bonehead this week as I lost the perfect ending video for this, so we're getting this one instead. These 3 divers got separated from their boat about 30 miles off the coast of Hawaii. These guys luckily stayed together. They were able to track down the Coast Guard by waving their fins in the air, and they were finally rescued, but they did spend hours out there treading water. The vessel operator who dropped them off noticed they were missing around 2 p.m., went back in and called for help. These guys finally got lucky and got rescued. If you notice any boneheads out on your water, go ahead and get some video. Hit me up on Facebook or Instagram with them, and I'll gladly put them on here. Also, we're going to the Fort Lauderdale boat show at the end of the month. If there's anything you'd like to see from that show, any boat reviews or anything like that, let me know at Facebook or Instagram or hit me up in the comments below and we'll get them done. If you haven't already, drop an anchor on that subscribe button. Have a good one, guys.